Hey Simon.
Hey, Suzanne.
Yeah, good to see you.
Nice to see you. Always.
Yeah.
Um, so I'm just looking for words.
Yeah, take your time.
Um, yeah, okay. Um, I feel like I'm I feel like I'm between two worlds. And yeah, the one world is the sort of what we call the normal egoic world. I'm a person, there's objects, And but also I'm in this other world. It's a little more I perceive it, but it's a little less obvious to me. But I perceive it almost always. It's undivided. Um, I just lately I've sort of started to notice. Oh, I'm not sure, but maybe yeah, I don't know. I'm a little confused, but I almost feel like I think I might be hanging on to the divided world, just out of familiarity or something, habit. I'm 66 and I've been doing that a long time, so it's very familiar to me.
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, just listening to your talk, I was like, oh yeah, it's clearer from what I've talked with you and listening to this. It seems like you've sort of untethered from the divided world. That's what it sounds like to me. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. That's when I sort of made it a little more clear that I feel like, oh, maybe I'm sort of holding on to the separate self world. I don't know, but
Yeah.
you're afraid to let go of that or something. I don't know, something.
In a way, it would make sense that there might be some fear of just being in the unknown
Yeah,
because it is kind of a new way of functioning. So even when the mind is kind of projecting into the future, it does gain energetically a sense of safety by artificially conjuring up an
yeah,
imaginary future.
yeah,
And to really not be able to do that anymore and to live with not knowing what's going to happen. Like
yeah,
we already don't know, but the
yeah,
mind will make it seem like you can know.
yeah. Like, yes, it's great. No, it's like a little safety trick it does.
Yeah. So it does take some getting used to and feeling the discomfort of noticing like, oh, that's made up. That's not actually real.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, and really letting myself really notice that. Like I think I notice it, but kind of not or something.
So what do you think is one of the things that you're holding on to?
Yeah, just having any kind of identity, I suppose, something, and the fear of not having that, just completely gone. That's seems a little alarming. Even though I've tasted it, I experience it sort of at arm's length almost. That's what it feels like. I guess fear. It's just fear, really disappearing, like for real.
Yeah. So the tendencies of the body, like the characteristics, they might come up more sparingly. Like once there is kind of just a relaxing into the unknown, it's not like the characteristics of the body just disappear because they're kind of seen more like energetic patterns. So they'll still pop up here and there, but it won't feel like an energetic string of this is who I am, this is how I am.
Yeah,
It'll be more like it kind of just comes and goes whenever it does.
yeah, yeah. That makes sense. I mean, I can feel the immense freedom in that, right? It's tremendous freedom. I think that part of it for me also is having some imagined sense of control of something. And I sense that that goes away too. And so that's, yeah, just sort of hanging on somehow.
Yeah, it's normal that those habitual tendencies would come up here and there. So, what can seem to happen is just more of a clarity and um, kind of like a spaciousness in which those patterns of control are just free to come up. And you're just noticing it like, oh,
Mm.
okay, that's how I used to find some safety. It doesn't disappear all at once, but what seems to happen is you just see it more clearly how that particular body mind was functioning when it felt like it was the central controller. So there's no need to get rid of those patterns. It's more like you're just noticing it now.
Yeah, yeah, that makes sense. Totally.
Because you see, you can't really control that either.
No. Luckily.
I noticed that in more finer and finer ways, there's a noticing of sometimes there's a reaction to like, oh no, that's gone. And then sometimes there's like, oh shit, why is this still here?
Yeah.
Like that subtly arises here and there.
Yeah.
And that too is just kind of noticed.
Right. Yeah. That's great. Yeah. That's great. That's super helpful. I'll ask one last thing and then I'll shut up. I don't want to take up too much time. But I just, the last month and a half, 2, 3 months, I don't even know, I lost track, but I keep having these, I guess what you call non-dual sort of experiences. Yeah. There's just, yeah, I couldn't locate anything like a me anywhere. I'm as much the table as I am this thing. And then I notice I have a few of those like in one day, and then the next day, wow, just filled with rage. Just angry at everything. Like I can't find a pen. I just about lose it, And I just remember I saw in your writings, or you talk, I think for you, when you experienced quite a bit of, I think, sadness, a lot of crying, I think you mentioned. Yeah. And I'm just guessing it might be the same thing. Does it sound kind of like the same things? Yeah, you have a little opening and then whoa, the mind kind of catharts up all this stuff. Does that
Yeah,
sound right? Yeah.
it's a good way of putting it.
Yeah.
Yeah, yesterday I had one of those days where it was just frustration. So anything that happened, it was
Yeah.
it was like
Full
so
on. Wow.
even though nothing was really happening, but
Yeah.
the underlying what was just frustration. So
Yeah.
everything was frustrating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it subsides and then feel like it's gone forever.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. All right. Just checking to see if I'm somewhat normal.
Yeah, it's totally normal. It's gonna feel more and more like when there's sadness, there's just sadness and everything is sad.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like it's so fully just that.
Yeah.
It takes a while to get used to it too, because yeah, it can feel really alarming. Like sometimes it can have a flavor of like forever. Like is this
Yeah.
last forever?
Yeah. In my case, it's anger. It's not a sadness, although I felt sad certainly, but for some reason, a lot of anger. But same quality, exactly. Just feel, wow, I'm just going to be angry now forever. That's it. I've stumbled into some anger zone. Or
Yeah. I think also noticing because there can be subtle ways the identity used to define itself if it got angry. So the judgment that comes up around it might come up. So just notice that as conditioning. Like usually we judge ourselves quite harshly if we're just angry for too long or about small things.
right, right. Yes, yeah, right.
Label ourselves like you're impatient. You shouldn't be this way. You should get over it. Or
Yeah, this is too much now.
yeah.
Yeah,
So that's all conditioning as well.
Right, right, right. And you could have that about sadness. Oh, okay. There's enough sadness now.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you. That's great. Very helpful.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah, anger is not a problem. It's quite understandable that there could be um it's hard to put a story to it exactly, but I also felt like, yeah, there was probably just a lot of sadness here that wasn't fully allowed to just be. So it just needed to come up, and wherever there was an opportunity for that to come up, like it just fully came up.
Yeah,
It was uncomfortable, but
yeah. Just the body releasing all that stuff. Yeah,
there were moments also where there was just hate.
yeah. Oh, yeah,
So everything that happened, it was
yeah,
just hate.
yeah. I know that. Yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah.
I'm more or less pretty much okay with it. I just, to be honest, I haven't had. I had a few years ago. I had but 6 months of hate, like full on. I just wanted to burn the world down. And then it subsided. It was just gone. I thought, oh well, I guess that's gone. And no, it's not so much hate, but just anger. But yeah, I'm very satisfied. I want to let other people ask you things. It's great. Thanks so much. Very helpful.
Yeah, that was wonderful. Thanks so much. Hey, Simon.
Hey, Suzanne.
Good to see you.
Good to see you. Just a quick little comment
Yeah, take your time.
um, from from last week. You said something to me, and I had to actually go back and rewatch it. It was so helpful. You mentioned, he says, I can't remember, I can only paraphrase, but um, he said something about, any future is made up. And I really saw that. I'd never really seen it like that. I had to listen to the video a couple of times and I heard you say that. You just kind of slipped that in there. And actually, then I went on your website, the other Patreon thing, and you said, oh, feel free to bring up anything like any kind of stuckness. And I think that's sort of what I was feeling. I went, well, what is stuckness? Stuckness. Stuckness is, oh, I have a picture of what should be happening, and maybe I'll get there in the future, and it's not happening now. And I don't like it. And I went, oh my God, that's made up.
Yeah,
It's totally made up.
yeah.
It's not, it's an imagination. And I could have a positive picture for the future or a scary one. They go, oh my God, what's going to happen? And, be worried. And they're both made up. It was just hilarious. I couldn't believe it. I don't know why I hadn't really seen that clearly. Oops, sorry, I'm got a strain. Hang on, sorry. There we go. There we go. I can see you better. Anyway, it was just fantastic. It was so simple. I feel like the future just sort of has fallen away. I don't have one, and
Mm,
it's fine. And uh,
yeah.
it's started to change everything. It's changed my perception of things. It's wild.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's such a beautiful way. It just feels like, oh, everything's just happening.
Mm.
It's perfect. It's just crazy. Just
Oh,
crazy. It's such a simple little thing you said. I was just, wow. So thank you. That was just awesome.
yeah, that's wonderful to hear.
Yeah, I want to tell you. Yeah.
Yeah, that's really nice. It's amazing how one thing, for some
Oh,
reason, can just stick out.
Wow. Yeah. Unbelievable. Yeah. And everyone's so different, right? Could obviously be something different for someone else. And yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, that's beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah. That's all.
Yeah, that's nice. I noticed like, sometimes I felt like I was questioning like how to function, like what thoughts to believe and things like that at certain moments
Yeah.
because I knew that any thought of the future was just like, yeah, it was made up. Um, but now how I can describe it is like the body has subtle natural fears and worries just about, I don't know, shelter, health, things like that. But it's without the layer of, oh fuck, it's my health, my safety,
Yeah.
without the neuroticness on top.
Yeah.
They're still just basic
Yeah.
worries. And
Like an
they,
animal.
yeah, there's a definite lightness to it. And so those thoughts about the imagined future can still arise and they can still be used functionally or not. Um, but yeah, it's nice when that becomes clear too. Like thoughts are not a problem,
Yeah.
totally fine. They can be used. Um, they're so seamlessly this.
Yeah.